We've been talking about the explosive size of this fire, Madison, and this is the 7 a.m. perimeter of the fire from this morning. So just to give you like a baseline, this is what it looked like as it was hitting Grizzly Flats earlier in the day. Pollock Pines is right up here if that's a little tough to make out on your screen. So there's the 50 corridor. If I go over here and we lay on top of this satellite data of hotspots, that's from 2 days ago when the fire began. We've got from 24 hours ago, the fire heading towards Grizzly Flats. And then this just came out a few hours ago. You can see the hot spots going all the way up here towards Mormon Immigrant Trail. So that is just a sense of the size of this fire and what it's done today. Mormon Immigrant Trail is about 2 miles away from Highway 50, and this is current as of, maybe a couple of hours ago. We can show you some video of how this fire behaved, because I think this says more than I can show on a map. Look at the flames in here. If we, again, drop that lower banner, you'll get a sense, you can barely make out the trees. They're so far in the distance, and yet the flames are towering above them. We're talking about hundreds of foot-long flames, if not reaching into the 1,000-foot flame length category, something we have seen before in the last few years in Northern California, which is a terrifying thing. That means that embers are flying very high up into the sky. This is looped a few times, but you're looking at a 2-hour window from between 1 and 3 o'clock this afternoon, and that camera angle's a little bit more obscured right now. Just one other look, if we come back here, that I think is really interesting. This is what it looks like at the top of the chairlift at Sierra Tahoe right now. This is a live look. It's progressive still images, so it's not rolling video, but you can tell as it updates that the vegetation is getting blown around a little bit. And we have another live look down from Somerset. So this is on the downhill side of the fire, and you're able to see still pretty active where it began. This would be more over towards Grizzly Flats, and then heading towards the 50 corridor over here. And that's the big concern, is that this fire is both pushing forward, but also growing on its flanks. And that left flank, if you will, as it's heading northward, is where Pollock Pines is going to be really concerned about what happens there. You can also see the pyro cloud just very faintly here, billowing up into the sky on top. As that gets heavier and heavier, it can come crashing down and spread the fire in all different directions. So again, the video we were just showing you with those towering flames, a good reason to get out of the way. If I could, I want to show you the conditions on the ground in Pollock Pines. This is video from back in 2019 as part of our Fire Power Money investigation, where we just took a big look at the fire problem itself. This shot is showing you the Sly Park neighborhood in Pollock Pines. There's hundreds of homes in that shot. You just can't see them unless you look straight down. And then you can see just how packed together trees and homes are in that neighborhood. They call it the wildland urban interface in firefighter talk. It just means where the vegetation is growing right in and among houses. And this is actually one of the spots that's on the radar for fire crews as a potentially very bad spot to have a fire. It's been a known quantity for years now, and those fears are beginning to come true. They certainly did in Grizzly Flat area, and now we're witnessing Pollock Pines evacuating today, this very neighborhood that you're seeing video of. If we come on back here, I thought this was really interesting. This is from Mount Diablo in Contra Costa County. And I guess we could probably bring this up full. I don't know if that's something we can do, give you a little bit better look. But that gives you, from out in the Bay Area, you can just see, out on the distance, this massive pyrocumulus cloud being caused by the Caldor fire right now. If there's one thing you're picking up from all this, I hope it's that this thing is massive, it is unpredictable, and is not the kind of event where you want to be hanging at home with your garden hose. Homes can be rebuilt, lives can't be replaced, and we've met, as you know, too many people over the last few years who wish their loved ones had made a different choice.
All right, Brandon, yes, indeed we have, and we've heard a lot of people compare this actually to the fire in Paradise. So something, if anybody is in the immediate vicinity, make sure that you're preparing now and be ready to go just in case. Let's get things over to Monica Woods, who's tracking the weather forecast. Monica, a lot of people don't even think this kind of thing is possible. What weather conditions are making it so?
Well, we are definitely seeing critical fire conditions, and we've seen time and time again. We said with the Tubbs fire, oh, this will never happen again. Then we get the Camp Fire, Kincaid fire. I mean, the list just keeps going on. Got a lot of fuel out there, second year of drought, and this is what conditions can look like very quickly. This is what developed overnight last night through early this morning. We were on top of it last night at 11 o'clock, our late news tonight. We knew conditions were rapidly changing, and we knew that the potential existed for more evacuations to start to take place as this Caldor fire continued to grow. What I have here is a look at our current winds. Now, winds are going to be a critical part of this story because they are going to be shifting. And that means firefighting tactics are going to change in the next 12 hours. This is where winds are right now, out of the south and west. Here's the current perimeter. But as Brandon has been showing you, hot spots have been growing on the north and east side of this fire. That is exactly what we expected with this southwest flow, and it is moving towards Highway 50, Jenkinson Lake, Sly Park. He's been going over some of those areas that are right now some of the main concerns. This is a look at our Doppler radar. It is picking up that pyrocumulus cloud, that towering cloud that we many times see with growing thunderstorms. These are heat-generated clouds from the fire. There's a lifting mechanism that's happening there with the heat from the fire, and then you get the instability growing within the fire, creating its own weather environment. Here's the actual top of the cloud here, and you can see those updrafts that are happening. These are especially dangerous conditions that are developing in and around that fire, not only for firefighters, but everybody trying to evacuate as well. Let me put this into motion, and you can see right about 3 o'clock this afternoon, we have rotation within that cloud. So again, these fires are creating their own weather environment, almost thunderstorm-like, with rotation happening, at least Doppler indicated, within that fire cloud in itself. And we are seeing that from the valley. Here's a look at the hot spots again, and this very much shows you with the winds how that fire is continuing to grow right now. Here's the change that happens at about midnight through 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, and that's a especially dangerous time to perhaps change the evacuation route, change firefighting tactics. They're already making those plans right now because firefighters already know from their incident meteorologist, that is a meteorologist that is specifically assigned to this fire. They are looking at all the changing weather conditions. How can we protect more lives, property, and make sure that firefighters are safe to get this fire under control? What's going to happen is they're going to change their tactics because of the northeast winds that are developing overnight. It's very possible this starts to move back towards Omo Ranch Road and then into the Fairplay area, which has all the wineries, the ranches, as well as some of the breweries out there and more homes as well. We've been seeing a lot of growth on the northeast side of this. It's very possible that the southwest side now could see more fire growth because of this. Red flag warning conditions. That continues through 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Winds are going to be shifting with gusty conditions in and around all the fires burning. We've got the Monument, the McFarland, we've got the Dixie, we've got the Caldor that we've been following. So a lot of fires that are currently burning throughout Northern California. Low humidity, rapid fire spread, lots of fuel. We've been talking about, and Brandon's been talking about this time and time again, how fire suppression has been the main tactic for several decades now to make sure these fires get out, put out rapidly. But now we've got a lot of fuel potentially for these fires to latch onto and spread. Here's a look at the smoke right now from our visible satellite imagery, a very visible plume coming from multiple fires in Northern California. So you also think about how our resources being spread super thin right now. If we were to even see a new fire start or some of the fires that may be sparking with the outflow from these current fires, that's going to be difficult to get a handle on. Here's the Caldor fire right here, the smoke blowing, as Brandon was also showing you, the horrible air quality right now at Lake Tahoe. To the north of that, we've got the Dixie fire. We had a little spot fire that popped up. It was lightning sparked just off to the north and west of the Dixie fire. So they're still trying to battle that one. And then the McFarland and the Monument. All of these fires currently have firefighter resources spread very thin at this point. All right, here's a look at our current winds. And they're out of the southwest, which is generally taking that flow and bringing us cooler conditions, elevated humidity ever so slightly, but everything starts to change overnight tonight. Let me show you the timeline, and here's the Caldor fire right here. Southwest winds out of Placerville at about 6 miles per hour. In and around that fire, much more erratic winds. Keep in mind, when you think about thunderstorms, how windy it can get around those thunderstorms. That's exactly what firefighters are dealing with on the ground. Erratic, gusty winds coming from different directions. So it's not necessarily one direction that they know exactly where this fire is headed. Sometimes with these thunderstorms and these pyrocumulus, you can get a wind shift very quickly. So a lot to consider here, just in and around that very tight area. Once we see those these overhead winds start to shift to the east to northeast, that's when we start to see potentially more growth on the south and west side of this fire. That'll happen about 2 o'clock in the morning, and that will continue through most of the morning. Then we again see a west to southwest wind, and then it shifts again a little bit out of the north and west. A lot of changing conditions in a very short period of time. I do want to briefly hit on the Dixie fire as well, because that's another one that we've been talking about that we are going to continue to follow right here at ABC 10. And for this one, you can see the outflow winds right here starting to pick up off to the from the east and pushing their way west. Those are extremely dry winds. When you're looking at those downslope winds from the face of the Sierra, that's going to lower humidity to critical levels. That's why we have that red flag warning continuing through 8 o'clock on our Wednesday, with rather strong winds coming in at about the noontime hour. So some of those communities there on the west side of that fire are going to be hit pretty hard. Smoke pattern as well has been pretty prominent throughout the Central Valley, also towards the Tahoe area. Obviously, the Dixie fire area will continue to follow that smoke pattern. If you're looking for some relief, not going to see a whole lot. It's going to be coming and going. Too much smoke, too much availability, and the winds are generally going to be carrying it right into not only the valley, but the Bay Area, the foothills, and the Sierra.
All right, Monica Woods, thank you so much. And again, for the very latest on these ever-changing weather conditions, head to abc10.com, our app, and keep it right here at abc10.com or ABC10 on air as well. Now, we just heard that the fire has grown to more than 30,000 acres. At 2 p.m., John, it was 6,500 acres. It is more than quadrupled in size. And John, you're standing really close to the origin of this fire in Grizzly Flats. Tell us what you're seeing. The devastation where you are is really just so hard to comprehend.
You're right. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I didn't realize 30,000. That is just amazing that it's grown that big this fast. And I mean, just sitting here, you know, I'm really kind of reflecting on these images. They're going to be very hard for people to see. Like, look, these are little desks, little chairs. We're right outside the elementary school here in Grizzly Flats. You know, I can see, you know, the school papers, the books, the ashes that these are the images that people are going to be coming back here. They've lost their fire department. They've lost their post office out here. There is just so much destruction. Photographer Rory Ward and I, we were driving around all day and we saw just down power lines, home after home. There's more homes burned than there actually are ones standing. This town has been decimated. This town of, you know, about 1,200 people out here. I want to go show you some of the video just to give you an idea here of what the first responders are driving in. If we can go to this video, you know, we're talking about these debris in the road. There's down trees, these power lines. In one area, Rory and I, we crossed a bridge that wasn't on fire. When we came back, the wooden bridge was on fire. We had to quickly cross it just to get back to safety there. So this fire is still very active. There's fire crews out right now. They're trying to break these lines, protect some of these houses out there. And we actually ran into a guy on his motorcycle, lives around here. He was in here before the closures happened, and he's been going around to his neighbors' homes, just trying to breaking a lot of bad news to some of these neighbors. And I got a chance to talk with him. If you guys just want to go to this soundbite here and take a listen to what he said. Lots of bad news.
When I rode up here, I had tears. It's unreal that the fires can get away so fast and do this kind of damage. You know, this is beautiful country. It'll be a long time before it's this beautiful again.
And you can really just hear the disappointment in his voice there. I mean, you know, he really didn't want to talk at first, but then he really just opened up and was just very surprised on what he saw out here, just home after home. If we want to come out here live, you know, I've been getting a lot of Facebook, some of my Facebook followers here, they've been sending me messages after messages trying to get down to take a look at their home, and we've been really trying to go doing these Facebook lives, trying to show people's homes that have been out there. We just can't get to all of them, Madison, here. But one more thing I just want to show you. This is what people are going to have to come home to. Look, there's many of these trees, fire burning inside these trees. The wildfire has ripped through this area, but left behind here is a lot of these burning trees that the fire department calls these widowmakers. They'll eventually burn and fall over randomly. So it's just a very dangerous scene here, whether you're driving on the roads and or just walking around. And this is what a lot of this community has to come back to. Madison.